Hello, I hope the sound comes through. I'll tell you, I've seen so many people over the years. All these people are predicting a food shortage. I hate to tell the doom and gloomers. I don't think it's going to happen. You know why? Do some research. Look at this. Look at the data out there. I'll give you some examples. Okay, the U.S. Department of Agriculture has all these statistics out there. The future markets are offering a bit more hope for corn, but even more negative on soybeans. That was for 2024. Okay, actually this year, okay, why are grain prices going down? Okay, we have 480 million metric tons of grains. This is the largest U.S. grain supply, and it continues to grow. And you figure in the summertime the grain prices are the highest because in the summertime it's an unknown how much grain is going to be out there. Hi, Joe Carroll Dodds. And I'll give you some statistics. That's how I determine stuff. Okay, currently the 2025 crop is anticipated to be the third largest on record. As a result, the U.S. Department of Agriculture has further lowered its price projection for the 2025-2026 crop by to about by 20 cents to $5.10 a bushel. Okay, what is the farm outlook of 2025? A farm sector income and finances and net farm income, a broad measure of profits, is forecast to increase in 2025 to $179.8 billion. But net farm income would be 52 billion, which is 40% higher than in 2024. You figure if there's going to be a food shortage, what causes a food shortage? Besides war, natural disaster, what causes a food shortage is low crop yield. Let me see if anybody else is in chat here. The thing is, I'm talking about Joe Carroll. I'm talking about long-term food, and the best way to figure this out is to go by the data. I think it was in 2012 the highest price for a bushel of corn was $8, and that's because of a drought. Let's see here. Yeah, it was $8 a bushel in 2012. You figure we were all told because of the Ukraine war and Russia there was going to be a food shortage. The food shortage never happened. And you figure, okay, it's gotten to the point there could be a shortage somewhere down the road. The problem is it isn't profitable. Food prices, the wholesale prices on the commodity just haven't gone up much at all. The biggest thing that determines food prices is chronic drought. And it looks like with the bountiful harvest, there isn't going to be a shortage of food. And looking at more statistics, even though I don't grow that kind of, I grow especially crop Christmas trees. Okay, Iowa is the state that produces the most corn, and Illinois comes in second. But the big problem that's going on is the fact that operating costs have gotten higher. And you figure saffron is the most expensive crop in the world, ranging from $5,000 to $10,000 per pound due to its labor-intensive harvesting practices. And the thing is, this all comes down to, okay, China has not purchased any corn, wheat, or sorghum this year, and pork and cotton exports continue only at reduced levels. I mean, everything is all mixed. People want to blame it on Trump. I just don't really see any big food shortage coming within the next year, unless by an act of God or a terrorist, somebody starts blowing up all these grain silos where all this grain is stored. You figure the tariffs ought to help the farmer, especially with the exports. You figure the grain market outlook is big harvest, but diverging market trends. Another record harvest is expected for global grain markets in the next 2 years. However, sentiment is bearish. You figure the operating costs because because of the inflation we had when Joe Biden was president, made everything go up in price. But I'll tell you something else I figured out. If you want to know how well the food companies are doing, they're not doing very well at all. Nestle's, you're looking at food company stocks. Nestle's stocks have dropped this past year. Um, I don't know any food stocks. You take a company like Kraft Heinz, their stocks have dropped in price. Actually, history is going to repeat itself. We have a glut of food in this country as far as grains. You figure it takes, what do the cows, chickens, and pigs eat? They're fed grains. If what could cause a big food shortage is if enough farmers just decide that's it, if they're going to go out of business. When you have an oversupply, look at it like this: what causes oil prices to go up? Fear is one thing, and a shortage of oil. If the farmers in this country would decide they've had it and stop planting their crops, then there would be a food shortage. And it amazes me that with all the farmers that were that took the buyout when Joe Biden was president, not to grow any grain crops, there still wasn't a shortage. You figure this country's got enough grains to last for years. Hello, Teresa. Email. The, th- the thing that annoys me is people do this to get a lot of views on their channel. They use, they try to alarm people. Oh, there's going to be a food shortage. Okay, there hasn't been a food shortage. Another thing that could cause a food shortage if something stopped all the fuel transportation. If there was a fuel shortage, that could cause a food shortage, and not because there won't be enough food. It would come down to the fact that they won't be able to transport the food. But unfortunately, a lot of people just watch videos and take people's word as gospel, and I don't. I question everything. That's one way to learn stuff, is to question everything and to do your own research. You figure in my area, there's only, if anybody around here grows corn, more than likely it's someone that has a dairy farm, and there's only a few around here in this part of the county, and they keep the corn and feed it to their cows. That's basically what it comes down to. Now, one question is, why are farmers barely making it financially? Okay, farmers have slim profit margins. This is driven by decreased commodity prices and higher input costs. Higher input costs has to do with how high fuel has been the past 4 years, even though it's coming down, and the cost of getting a tractor repaired. You look what it costs for a farmer to go out and buy a new tractor or a new combine, even just to bale hay. This farm equipment has gone up in price. Anyone around my area that does any farming, they're usually using equipment that's maybe 20, 30, 40 years old. So basically, there's not a ton of money to go around for farmers right now. An author by the name of Anna Morell, a farmer who raises poultry, eggs, and produce, and actually, probably the farms that were doing the best were the chicken farms, with egg prices going up. But if you look at it both ways, they weren't doing well either, because look at all the chickens that had to be destroyed. Hi, Resi Decor. Since nothing's going outside the deer, I thought I'd do a little bit of a live stream. But like I said earlier, for people that just showed up, the food companies, we were told. I remember when the U.S. Senate race was in Pennsylvania with Mike McCormick beat what's his name, the Democrat. Rosie, I never been on Cola's show. Um, I'm not even sure when she's on. Okay, the one reason why beef is so high, and it has to do with what happened with all these animals being euthanized because they were exposed to bird flu. And the thing is, another reason why there's a beef shortage is in the state of Texas, a lot of farmers sold their land rights to put in these solar panels. And So much ground in Texas has been taken out of grazing. You figure the climate Texas has, it takes a lot of ground just to graze one cow. And the thing is, ranchers make deals. It's easy. It's easy money. And the thing is, there's no deal anybody like me, people that grow specialty crops like Christmas trees, you can't get crop insurance. The government's not gonna. There's no government incentives. I've had people tell me, "Oh, you're being paid by the government to grow trees." Christmas tree growers and other specialty crops like nurseries, people that grow nursery stock for landscaping, they don't get any kind of deal with the government at all. Hey Jeff B, what's up? I thought I would I thought I would just come on tonight for a little. Hey, after I did a stream last night, I found the deer. As soon as I shined the light on it, it ran into the park, and that was about midnight. I'm sick of these late nights, but I have to. I mean, it's gotten to the point where the most I can do is scare these deer out. But I just want to tell everybody, I don't think there's going to be any kind of big food shortage in this country. You look at what happened the past few years. Look at all the food processing plants that caught fire. They've been trying to starve us, and it hasn't happened. And the whole thing, I'll tell you, you turn on any local news. I'm sick of hearing about the SNAP program. Philadelphia, let's see. Let's see what Jeff B has to say. I think there's hope in sight. You turn on any of the local TV stations for news in Philadelphia. All you have to hear, first thing you hear is 500,000 people might go, not have, yeah, 500 million people, no, 500,000 people might go hungry. I forget what Philadelphia's population is. It's probably still a little over a million. Half the people in Philadelphia are on the um the food stamps program. I'll tell you a story. A few years ago, my sister, she has a tree farm way bigger than I have. We used to be partners on the one property, and I'm semi retired. She had a customer that tried purchasing a Christmas tree using one of those SNAP cards, and she said, "I can't take this." You figure in Pennsylvania, there's about maybe 12.5 million people. 2 million of them are on the food program. Now I feel bad for people that are, really hurting, disabled. Some people have, mental problems and they can't work. I mean, unfortunately, so many people just have issues in this country. But the thing is, 1/6 of the people in Pennsylvania are on the SNAP program. You figure this has just gotten to be pathetic. Okay, take care on YouTube. Good seeing you. You figure 42 million people in the country are on the SNAP program. Then I saw on Fox News one night, and I heard on talk radio about there were people using their food cards to buy drugs and alcohol, and they're giving somebody a food card to buy a gun illegally. Isn't that pathetic? Yeah, I know the stores are fine here. I was concerned with I'll tell you, my wife, because where we live, there's so many grocery stores. My wife went to Lidl, Aldi, Giant, and she went to ShopRite, which is like 8.5 miles away. I think all this is just fear porn. Somehow, okay, the governor of Pennsylvania released money for people, and the mayor of Philadelphia, she released some money. Personally, I think, you know what I think? I think the Democrats did this shutdown, hoping that the people would go hungry and start an uprising. It's funny. I saw a poll. There's a guy like Ace Economics. I think he's changed the name of his channel. 52% of Americans are basically for the government shutdown. And the thing is, unless you're on, and I believe there's just so much fraud that goes on. It's like this in all the major cities. Basically, Chucky Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, in my humble opinion, wanted the people to revolt. I saw a video on someone's channel where there was a black woman that said, if we can't get our food, we're going to start killing white people and eating them. I mean, what kind of person would do that? What has been going on in this country is just getting worse. And there's only one man I think that can clean any of this stuff up. And actually, Joe Carroll Dodds, you know who makes out the best with the SNAP program? Walmart does. That's why Walmart's stock has doubled basically in the last few years. My wife went to Walmart today just to get deicer for her window in her car. And she saw all these people, and they looked like they were, from south of the border, just carts full of food. And most of the food at Walmart, my wife, we won't buy any. The only kind of food I would buy there would be canned fish. The people were just hoarding food. And when you're in line behind someone and they give somebody a card, how do you know if it's a credit card or one of the SNAP cards? You don't. There's no way of knowing what kind of card they're giving people. What amazes me, well, it's like this. I don't go out that often. There's times already where I go to the Dollar Tree or Dollar General to get something like, a disposable razor. And you see people, and they're usually the minority, and they're overweight. They got their shopping cart loaded up with food from the refrigerated section at the Dollar Tree. I'm thinking, yeah, you are really eating healthy. It amazes me how so many of these people are overweight and they're just stocking up on unhealthy food. I think people like us are in the minority. People that actually stay home and cook food for dinner. My wife made chicken thighs tonight, tater tots, and one of those green giant string bean, the green giant frozen green beans that have the onions on it. I mean, basically, that we got to cut back on the government. There, you figure, we owe this to basically President Johnson, LBJ, and Ted Kennedy. This all started with the welfare program in the '60s, and the incentives were there for people. If you were, hey Craig, if you were, okay, black people used to have the lowest divorce rate in the country compared to white people. Black people were encouraged to get a divorce, and because then the woman could get government subsidies, and the more kids she had, the more subsidies she got. So many people don't realize what the Democrats have done to this country has enslaved the black people. I feel bad for people. You figure there's a lot of people that are raised in the inner cities. They are just a victim of circumstances. Craig, did you want to come up any? I could actually. I don't have the. Let me see if I could put this in. Let me see if I can put this in here because I don't have YouTube open. If you want to come up, Craig, come up. I enjoyed talking to you. But like I said earlier, I get tired of so many people. They'll read something, they'll just go ballistic. Oh, we're all going to run out. We're all going to run out of food. We're not going to run out of food. We got enough grains in this country to last for probably 3 years. Hey, what's County Oregon doing? Hey, Craig, did you get a chance to watch any Dark Shadows? I've been flicking around on that. My wife didn't even watch that as a kid, but she is a little younger than me. I'm waiting to see if Craig or County Oregon want to come up for a little. I can't stay on too late. Yeah, and actually, you got to look at like eggs have gone down in price. Last week, my wife went to Redner's and got me 2 dozen large eggs for $4. And the thing is, I know where the Redner eggs come from. They come from a place in Reading, Pennsylvania. Okay, that's okay, Craig. County Oregon's probably has to go out later and get his fangs wet. I hope you're feeling better, Craig. Damn, my shoulder is still bothering me. I'm trying to lift weights twice a week. I'll tell you, my wife told me to take a leave because that ibuprofen doesn't agree with me, and that a leave doesn't help a person's stomach. I'm just trying to work through pain. Well, the big question is, what's Craig doing in bed? Yeah, that's that's a good one, Craig. Actually, I was watching the part where they had a new actress play Victoria Winters because Alexandra Mulkey left to get married, and the part where Victoria Winters went back to be with Peter Bradford, who was Jeff Clark. I tell you, and then Barnabas goes back in time to try to stop them from being killed. Hey, Agent J. I tell you, Joe Carl dogs. You probably have chickens. I'll tell you, my wife won't eat eggs at all. My wife won't eat any lunch meat at all. Hey, good to see you, Agent J. If you wanted to come up for a few minutes, I put the link in chat. I hope that you're doing okay, Agent J. It's like, people get the wrong idea about me. I'm not the person that has the time to like be at anybody's beck and call. Every night I'm out here trying to get a freaking deer. And I think I told everybody last night what's going on with the park because we're concerned what an arsonist could set this park on fire and this whole property could go up. Thank you for the comment about nice teeth. Yeah, I got most of my mouth. I got a lot of crowns. And I'll tell you one thing I know is a lot of people neglect their teeth. If a person has to get a teeth pulled, you're going to lose bone mass around that tooth, and each tooth on each side of that could end up having. You could end up losing for each tooth the person gets pulled. It doesn't get a dental implant. You could lose two teeth in a few years. I only have one implant, and because they're so expensive, I'm not going to get another one unless I really have to. Okay, Agent J, I regretted not buying Intel because my one sister and I that I used to be in business with. I mean, it's that irreconcilable differences is basically what it came down to. It has to do with politics. She didn't think Intel was a good buy when it was like 18 bucks. Intel has been up to almost $40. People think I'm crazy. I can't wait for another stock market correction because if we have another stock market correction, I think I'm going to buy some CoreWeave, more Taiwan Semiconductor, and Micron because I was talking about that last night. And I said the unfortunate thing is there's people that don't like me anymore because I spend too much time talking about money. The thing is, money isn't important as long as you have enough. Okay, what is this about? We can go to Japan. Oh, Craig, what did you look at the picture I sent you? My son and the group he manages, the Double Wars product, he sent us pictures. They were at an animal refuge in um, somewhere in South Africa, and he sent us pictures of lions. Actually, I didn't know they have penguins along the coast of South Africa. He has been all over the place, and to get back from South Africa, whichever city they're in, the plane will take off and it'll land in London, and then that plane will fly back to the U.S. I'm not sure which airport. Not that anybody knows my son. I was thinking of putting a picture of him where he took pictures of the penguins. Um, his girlfriend decided to move in with him, and she's from the Maryland area. I think she's a little woke, and actually her parents, I don't think would approve of us. They're devout Christians, but I think they lean a little too far to the left. And his girlfriend Christy, she is really unique looking because I think it was her grandmother. She's Polish and Japanese, but she's only like maybe 1/8 Polish, I mean 1/8 Japanese. Beautiful young woman. I'll tell you, County Yorga, I floss at least twice a day. One thing that's a pain in the ass is flossing a bridge. I had a tooth break from eating a hard pretzel right there, and the dentist said if you wait to put a crown in, you could break a tooth next to it. So my dentist, is my friend, said, just get a crown put in. And Craig, I think Craig has a crown. Hope he doesn't mind me saying that. Just to floss a crown, you got to use this little thing because the one tooth is attached to you have like a fake tooth that's attached to a tooth in each side. I'll tell you, I got a little Jewish blood in me from doing a family tree. Um, and I've joked around with my sister because my maternal grandmother's maiden name was Collins, but her husband, Maine's mother was Susan Roosevelt, a very, very distant relative of the Roosevelts. Yeah, I know Maryland is a cesspool, and I found out that Maryland House restaurant that I've talked to you guys about is gone. It's called the Maryland House, but it's like a food court at a plaza. You figure Agent J, most of the Jews in the world are Khazarian Jews. Their ancestors were Turkish converts. We are the descendants of the Israelites. Hey, you take care, Teresa. It's like I don't put any video I'm gonna do up like hours beforehand because I don't know what the hell I'm doing here. I'm out here like every half hour going on the deck, sun on my streamlight, trying to see if there's any deer out here to shoot. I'll tell you, more than likely all the Roosevelts are related because I traced my family history. It was easy going back to William the Conqueror. I've determined all the Boswells are related, but it is just so distant. And I know there's Boswells left that came here in Virginia and Kentucky because you got to remember, Kentucky used to be part of Virginia. I'll tell you, there are nice parts of Maryland. The southwestern, well, no, where southwestern PA borders northwestern Maryland is rural and nice. I've talked to guys I know from Audio Karma years ago on their chat. Who do I put to sleep, County Yorga? Tell you, when it comes to the younger crowd, the thing I've noticed is a lot of people in my son's age group, which is mid-30s, they've seen what's happened in this country. Look at it like this: people like 35 to 40, they'll tolerate. If somebody wants to change their gender, they don't have a problem with it, but they don't want to have this all just basically forced upon them. And my niece, Elizabeth Corkum, she ran the New York City Marathon today, and she's mixed up with some of I think the woman on CNN, Mika Brezhnev or whatever her name was, related to the former leader over there. She's friends with that girl's daughter. She's hooked up with all these liberals and she's got a running club. It is just pathetic. Almost every 2 or 3 days, there's something on there about bad mouthing Trump. I've told people before that haven't watched me ever before. I have family members. My brother-in-law, he's thinking of getting dual citizenship with Ireland, and his daughter and her husband. Her husband works for the AFL-CIO. They're doing stuff with the NAACP. I think Trump's gonna have to designate all that stuff as a terroristic organization. Okay, ASRP. Okay, I predict. Okay, United Health was saying last night that stock tanked. United Health, the guy that got killed, I think he was ready to turn state's evidence. The guy that was shot in New York City in the summer. United Health was funneling money back to AARP allegedly. It's like this. There's people that need help. United Health, I've heard horror stories about how people get denied health care. My wife being a nurse, every time the doctors have to do a procedure or surgery, they got to get certification. Certification with these insurance company is a big mess. I don't believe in healthcare insurance at all. You figure, I'm sure a lot of people here, when you were a little kid, when you were born, I bet your parents paid for it out of pocket like my parents did. Filling station, I tell you, nobody nobody really calls it that anymore. Like you say filling station, the young person, they don't even know what you're talking about. Now, Agent J, how do you feel from the surgery? Because I heard you had an open bypass. I was praying for you. Because I actually my one brother-in-law, he had to have several shunts put in. He's been having some health issues, but he's 72. I think it's better to be an alpha than a beta. I'll be curious to see how many people actually are watching in the background and not saying anything. I'm glad people show up, but hey, if too many people show up, um, then it creates more problems. I'll tell you, I hate this time change, Craig. I think we ought to stick to daylight saving time permanently. I absolutely hate it because it's looking like this. We lose so many hours of sunlight that the kids are when the kids get on the bus, it's going to be dark even with the time. Like last week, because my wife doesn't get home usually about 6:30. Last week I had to start putting the light on. Well, now look at it like this. I'm worn out from working this past year. Now I'm going to be coming in for dinner earlier, um, because we have a rule. We got to get that dishwasher on by at least 6:30 because the dishwasher takes so freaking long, and that's just using it in the normal cycle. I can't make you a mod because I don't even have the YouTube window open. Agent Chad, I've emailed you a few times. I don't know if I have your right email or not. Yeah, I saw the video too about med beds. You know what I want a med bed for? My shoulder. Because some people don't know. Agent J, the last week of February, I decided to get back to doing overhead presses. I never liked them at all. I was doing overhead presses, and then it's like I had a sticking point, and I kept doing them. And all of a sudden, my shoulder just swelled up and started hurting. And I can't make anyone want a mod because I don't have the YouTube window open. I think the thing I've learned from YouTube is you got to watch how close you get to people, unfortunately. It seems like that, okay, I've had problems with certain people. Then other people say things behind my back and I don't like it. It's like, if I have a problem with someone, I'll call them out. If someone says something to me and denies it and I know what they did, I'm done with them. And look at it like this. It's not my fault some people are just dirt poor. Some people are victim of circumstance. And I feel bad about it. It's like my goal is to make enough money in the stock market so my wife can retire. I mean, we're almost there now, and I'm not going to even like how much money does a person need to retire, and it all depends on where you live. And Agent Chad, I'm not going to raise tree prices this year. We're like in the fourth year of a dry summer. That some of the trees look pitiful because what are you going to do when it doesn't rain? Last Thursday we had 2 inches of rain, and we could probably use another 2 inches. I know, unfortunately, some people get hysterical. My wife, unless something would happen to our son, we don't get hysterical about anything. Like my wife's brother passed away on January 11th from pancreatic cancer, and his ex-wife just called tonight and left a message, and we think she's drunk, and she's talking about giving him a shout out. I'm thinking, doesn't she remember her ex-husband died? I'll tell you, you know what I've found in life? Some people just are never happy. The thing I've noticed is the people, it's like this. I've never gone to any kind of political demonstration. Some of my liberal family members, one of them, her and her husband are going to all these freaking events. And the thing is, I can just tell some people, even when Biden was president, they weren't happy. Some people are just not happy. It's like everybody ought to be. Look at it like this. We live in the greatest country of the world. As long as you have a roof over your head that doesn't leak and plenty of food and, shelter, climate control. I mean, there's some people out there that can't even afford to run their air conditioner in the summer. And it's gotten to the point with me, you know what? If people that make the best choices in life, that's your fault. Everybody's made mistakes in life. But the big problem is some people, they take it out on everyone and have a chip on their shoulder. And I was saying before, and it pisses people off, I don't care. It's almost like there's a division between the haves and the have-nots. People have to plan the future. People don't realize I make my Christmas tree income 1 month out of the year, from Black Friday because we close on the 23rd, and it takes 8 to 12 years to grow these trees. So you know what that's made me do? Have a lot of patience. Because I was saying last night, around here, people don't realize what it's like to live here. We got a young neighbor that he has a construction business, Nick Lenhart. Him and his wife were building a 4,500 square foot house, and he's a few years older than my son. They're gonna the cost of the house without the mortgage is gonna probably be at least $400,000, and they're to 450, maybe half a million, and they're doing it on their own like I did. Holly is upstairs right now. I don't think Holly goes upstairs because my wife's sleeping up there. Hey, nobody's ever broken into our bedroom with Holly, and she's 10 years old now. And it concerns me, but she's going pretty strong. I mean, my wife tolerates her. Holly is like it's like having a wild animal in this house. One of our friends was hunting today because they have hunting on Sunday now in PA, bow hunting, and she won't make up with the guy. So after we came in the house for dinner, until it was dark, after she ate her meal, she's lying on the floor in front of the glass sliding deck door. Well, it's getting a little late. I wish somebody had come up tonight. I'll tell you, Kent Yorga probably has to do some feeding soon. I don't know if he's still here. Hey, it was good talking to you, Agent Jay. Maybe one night you'd want to do a stream with me, but the problem is I don't know what I'm doing from night to night. Hey, the only way you could pet Holly is if she was outside. She carries on when her son comes. When her son's girlfriend comes, she behaves better. Trying to figure out how long I've been on. You know what? Thanks everybody for showing up. I'm gonna call it a night. It's 11:43. I'm gonna go on the deck and see if there's a deer here. Because last year most of the deer I got was after midnight. And if I get a deer after midnight, I'll have to tie Holly outside to drag it up with a tractor and gut it, where she'll be in the house barking her head off. And then I'll call people up to see who wants to pick it up tomorrow. Nice to see you too, Karen Thompson. And well, hopefully we'll all see each other soon. Some of the channels I've been on recently, I'm not going to be there anymore because of stuff that's nobody's business. And you know what? It's better to float around. Hey, you're there. Okay, thanks for showing up and watching Kent Yorga. I know I'm kind of boring. But okay, everybody have a good night and God bless.